Happy Friday, everybody. It's the Recap Lunch Hour with Guff, me, Ryan McGuffey, and it's all brought to you by our proud partners at Hooters. Visit one of the 11 Chicagoland locations. You know the drill. OriginalHooters.com, coming from the palatial estate today. It's a happy Friday edition of the Lunch Hour. I'm jacked up. There's plenty to discuss. You know I'm fired up about the bet of the day coming later in the program. Stay hot, kid. For all of you hopping on board, it's been a very profitable week, and I know some of you are feeling it as well as the Cubs sit 14 games over 500. Calendar flipping to June this weekend. Almost improbable to believe that the calendar flips to June, and we put the question out there. Who do you want the Cubs to trade for? There's been a lot of talk. You guys know that I put the question out there earlier this week. Should the Cubs be checking in almost daily, certainly weekly, with the Atlanta Braves and the Texas Rangers? And then Chris Sale goes out and becomes the fastest player ever to record 2,500 strikeouts. Folks, I'm finally getting people to buy in, including Cap, who called me today to say, you know what? Hat tip to you. Chris Sale's likely a Hall of Famer. I think, folks, I think the guy's going to be a Hall of Famer. I would be moving mountains to make sure that happened. And if you are the Cubs and if you're Cub fans, you should be rooting every single day for the Atlanta Braves to lose to make this thing happen even more. And for all of you saying, oh, the Braves aren't going to sell, there are 10 teams in the National League right now that have a better record than the Atlanta Braves. Yes, there's still 2 months before the deadline. Yes, things can change. They are in a position they have to start changing right now. Eric says, I would trade for either Chris Sale or Jacob deGrom if I were the Cubs. That will definitely boost our rotation and get another bullpen arm. Definitely need more bullpen. But guys, they wouldn't just boost your rotation. Now, the Texas Rangers they're 2-8 their last 10. They're 3 games under 500. They can't score. It makes no sense. The White Sox have scored 11 more runs than the Texas Rangers. There were 10 people from The Athletic who picked the Rangers to win the World Series this year. 10. I'm not saying the Rangers are dead yet. They're only 3.5 out of the wild card. They're only 4 back of their division. Things can change. Let's jump down to the Braves. The Braves are not playing. Their record doesn't show what their expected win probability would be, which is 29-26. They're 26-29. They're 3-7 their last 10. They are 9.5 games back of the Mets and Phillies. I don't think they're chasing everybody else for the wild card. They're 5.5 back. They're not dead and buried yet, but I'm just letting you know the Braves are on thin ice as we head to June. Thin ice. Oilers, Panthers, Stanley Cup final again. Let's see if McDavid can finally get his first Stanley Cup. My guy, Breck Bear, happy Friday. Guff and the Recap Heads, what's up? Breck, you're certainly one of them. Eric saying hello. My guy, James Weston. Look at James Weston in the chat. For those, I think he's been here one other time, or maybe he's been a latecomer to some of the, look at the hair. What a mess. Humidity. My guy, James Weston. Becky, you're here. Becky and Eric go back and forth with I always love. There's Lip. Lip taking that cash money. OG Anunoby. That thing was done by halftime, Lip. It's nice to be the rake instead of the rake being against us. It's nice to be that rake for a week or two. It's been fun. Clyde, see if deGrom wants to be a Cub, especially if Texas is out of the race. 100%. He has a full no trade and he's owed about $100 million. His situation's a little trickier than Chris Sale's, who you have the option on for 2026. Could be a rental. Could also be 1 year of control. Comes at a much, much, quote unquote, cheaper price for those of you counting the pennies of Tom Ricketts. And I know there's a couple of you, Godfather included, who do that every day. Swayze, the more I look, the more I'm thinking Sale. That dude is awesome when healthy. Sale it is. But guys, he won the Cy Young last year. He has been as healthy as anybody in the game the last couple of years. Okay. You're always going to gamble in a trade. Health is always there, but I'm going with the guy that won the Cy Young last year and who's on a mission to get to 3,000 strikeouts. Pablo, Knicks will have a tough time. Let's not forget how awful Indy fans are. Reference lady from the quote Last Dance documentary who screamed at all the Bulls fans from behind their bench. Look, Breck Bear and I went to a Colts game way back when Peyton Manning was a Colt. Fans. We fell asleep in that game for multiple reasons. One of which was that thing was a snooze fest and the fans were too. I'm not all that worried about middle America. Okay. This is New York versus Indianapolis. You don't think the Knicks have heard some stuff before, Pablo? I feel pretty good. I feel like their ability to block out. I'll put it that way. It's pretty good. Love the Cubs bullpen sense of urgency. Hector, they've been one of the best. They have been the best bullpen in major leagues the second half of May. Hard to believe. But that's what happens when you get stability at the back end. And Daniel Palencia has been that for them right now. 102 plus. What's up? I love the back and forth. Kyle, good afternoon. For addition targets, give me either Sale or DeGrom for starting pitching. More bullpen help is a must as well. Jed, get Tom's debit card as soon as you can. Take that. Yeah, get that Wintrust debit card out and let's start spending some cash. What if the Cubs were able to get both? A man can dream, can he? Yeah, and Nate Eovaldi, Cap and I were just on the phone. Nathan Eovaldi, he's got some postseason experience. And that dude, right now, just so we're all clear, like he is absolutely dealing. Nathan Eovaldi has one of the best ERAs in baseball, I think. Yeah, he is 4-3 with a 1.56. 4-3 with a 1.56 and 69 in a third innings. So if you're looking at guys, that could be another one. Terry, do you think they traded for Cabrera with an eye on using Pomeranz to open for Brown? I think when you have guys like Drew Pomeranz, Chris Flexen, Brad Keller, they are, in theory, they're swingmen because they've spent a lot of their career as starters. They've been moved and developed into bullpen arms and valuable ones at that. I think all of those guys as an openers are possible. Love to see all the regulars here, says Pablo. Always welcome the new people growing this channel. Clyde, glad to join from work. Will the Cubs even trade for a starter? Oh, Sean, I think I'd be stunned at this point if they didn't. Shota hasn't pitched in over a month. I know he's coming back. You've lost Justin Steele. You're relying on guys who have never even completed a major league season before in Cade Horton. And then you got veterans like Boyd and Ray. I think you need a dude in the rotation. I don't even think it's a debate, to be honest with you. What do you think if it would cost the Cubs to trade for Chris Sale? It would take a big prospect, maybe some lesser than top 100s after that, and you're picking up the money. But first of all, you guys know how I feel about prospects. They're prospects, man. Yes. Are you? If you're telling me the Cubs can get Chris Sale, but who's, by the way, 3-3 with a 3.06, 86 strikeouts. I wanted to read to you what he's owed over the next couple of years. Not that should matter. He's owed $22 million this year. So roughly you'd be getting him. He's probably owed about $13 million right now. Okay. He has an $18 million option for next year. That's a no effing brainer to me. Absolutely no brainer. Godfather. Another weekend of full houses at Wrigley. It's still under the luxury tax, May 30th. Thank you, Tom. Godfather, I already referred to you, and there you are, my friend. Sale's a rental, fine with it. Chapman was a rental in 2016, and look what happened after he became a Cub. Go Cubs. And Kyle, like I said, you have a year of control. He's a rental plus, is like I like to say. You get to figure out if you want to bring him back next year. I think it'd be kind of foolish not to. What dominant bullpen arm is available? It depends, Clyde. It depends. Right now, I could see the Cubs trading for a starter before trading for a reliever, because as the market gets deeper into July, we know the premium on bullpen arms. It's going to be high. Craig Kimbrell's interesting right now. He's been pitching in AAA, and he has basically kind of a prove-it opt-out clause. If any team calls about wanting Craig Kimbrell, the Braves have to put him on the Major League roster on that day. And if they don't, he's free bait. That's a pretty good out clause. I know it's Craig Kimbrell and he's 37, but hey, he could be back in insurance to your bullpen, a guy who's been there and been one of the best closers in the history of the game. Breck, there were lower lever seats as well. Almost made me give up on sports. Did I miss part of the conversation? right there? I'm sorry if I did. Lip, wanted to get in now in case you want to, since it starts in 30 minutes. College baseball, Louisville run line, Alabama run line. Lip Ripper, man. I love when you're doing your NHL and your college baseball picks. Appreciate getting those out there. I'll have a baseball play as well coming up on the program. Godfather coming through as usual with the luxury tax. He's on fire. Ricketts will not sign Tucker or pay PCA when it's time or ever sign a top free agent. Deal with it. Now, okay, I hear you. I'm not necessarily going to buy that. They did two of their biggest contracts in franchise history. Actually, all three of them. Jason Hayward, John Lester, Dansby Swanson. He's committed the money. Is he committed 400, 500, 700 million? No. But at least they have multiple recent players that they've signed to big money contracts. The White Sox? Dom, good to see you. It's a shame the Twins turned their season around. Pablo Lopez or Joe Ryan would have been incredible. Not sure they would have been moved, but still. Yeah, I've seen this name come up in the chat. I saw it on social media. I'm like, I guess if the Twins want to tell their fan base, like, yeah, we're out at 5 games over 500 and currently in the wild card. I don't see a scenario where the Twins would be sellers whatsoever, especially in the AL Central. Very competitive, also very winnable. Looking forward to afternoon baseball after the lunch hour. Hope another division series win is on the horizon. Go Cubs, go. So the Cubs are at 120 against the Reds. And if you hadn't heard, the White Sox and Orioles got moved up to a 3:30 start because of inclement weather coming to Baltimore. So 2 afternoon tilts for our baseball teams should be fun. A little Friday afternoon, maybe sneak out of work at lunch. Maybe you're doing that right now, having a little bit of lunch outside somewhere and saying, to hell with it. I'm not going back to the office. Let's cash some bets and go watch some baseball. Will they trade for any bench players? I could see that, Sean. I could see a role player being added to the mix. Like a Jeff Blum type in 2005 for the White Sox when that happened. And it was like, wait, that's all you did? And it just happened to be one of their better trades that they'd ever made as he spilled some water all over himself. Bubs, happy Friday. Trade Braxton at the deadline. Possibly. Bubs, by the way, Bubs, been a bit. Also, what you think of a Tank Bixby trade? Tank Bixby. That's a name I was not expecting to hear. Tank Bixby. Not something I expected on the program. The football, we're going with the running back here. Tank Bixby ran for 7 touchdowns last year. Interesting take. That would be interesting. I don't know. Like, does it make me excited and warm and fuzzy? No. Interesting name though. If they have a serious shot at winning the World Series, they'd get one of each frontline starter and top-notch bullpen arm. Absolutely. And probably another bench player. Breck, that was supposed to be that was response to the atrocious Colts game. Worst professional sports experience ever. It is in the team photo of one of the most boring events I've ever been to as a, quote, fan. Because everyone around us was like, the real Phil Simms. The Oilers handled their business last night. The rematch is here. Oilers in 7. Phil's been all over this matchup for a month. Let's take 2 out of 3 from I like realistic Becky. I like non-panicky, non-worried, realistic Becky. That's good. 2 out of 3 is a win. Are you or anyone paying for the CHSN app? If so, is it worth it? I hope they figure out a deal soon. I do not have the app, Pablo. I do have CHSN. One of our TVs, we have one at work as well. This has been beyond frustrating for a lot of people, fans, those in the media, those who are not as well. Super, super bummed. It's $20 a month. The content's there. You're basically paying for your team. I personally have gone to the MLB app. I think that's a better experience because you get all of the games and you get the CHSN broadcast, so that's fun too. I know Godfather might think otherwise in terms of the acquisition. Panthers and 6 for Lip. I'm also going Panthers. They just look like the more dominant. They look to me like the Oklahoma City Thunder do in the NBA playoffs. Like, as much as I really would like to see whoever comes out of the Knicks Pacers game win the title. Sorry, Becky. Oklahoma City just looks like the clear front runner. Still liking the idea of moving Brown to the pen and having Flexen as a starter role until the trade is made. Kyle, I do too. My apologies to Ricketts. He did give us Gallagher Way and new light bulbs for games. All is not lost. Man, do I love me some Godfather. Dom, since someone mentioned football, are the Vikings getting Jalen Ramsey? That team is scary. The division is an absolute gauntlet. By the way, it's been a long time since we've said that, though. It is. It's been a long time. So I'm just making sure that trade, there's a lot of teams that should be interested in it, by the way. So I totally understand that. You know what else I understand? You guys know where I'm going here. I'm going to probably grab some of this later on tonight. Thinking about having a Big Daddy mug during the White Sox game at 3:30 at Hooters, originalhooters.com. Visit one of the 11 Chicago area land locations nearest you. I full disclosure, Hooters O'Hare would be my local establishment. Fill that Big Daddy mug up with summer shandy, with Dos Equis, with Blue Moon, have some tender tacos, some shrimp tacos on a Friday, some mango habanero. I will bring the cinnamon pretzel bites home for the kids. And I'll probably do that via order.hooters.com. If you want to pick up, slide in, grab the Big Daddy mug, grab your order to go. That's the way to do it. Proud partners here at the Recap. And for 2 more days, the Paloma remains the drink of the month for $8. We are getting that type of weather where it's going to be welcoming, bright colors, plenty of it in the Paloma. Make sure you get yours over the next 2 days. They're $8 for the next couple of days as we turn the calendar to June and get a new drink of the month. Going back to the chat, Breck, talk about paying for sports. It costs something like $1,500 this season to watch all the NFL games. So yeah, that's with you. You need Amazon Prime. You need your regular cable. You just for the locals. You need Netflix. You need, what else do you need? I mean, with all the streaming platforms, Amazon Prime, Netflix, CBS would be Paramount. With all of the platforms, and then you have the direct ticket or the Sunday ticket. You're talking about, and people, by the way, are just sitting there like this during football season. That's fine by them. It's all the other sports that are frustrating. I think they need to do an opener for Ben Brown. Maybe experiment with that. Swayze, what do you think about a possible reunion between Daniel Gafford and the Bulls? It doesn't make me all that excited, but at the same time, nothing about the Bulls right now gets me excited. Joe Colley did drop a new Bulls recap podcast yesterday and what he's hearing about the draft and who the Bulls are targeting. Take a listen. He's got some really good inside information. Dustin, Flexen needs to be stretched back out if the Cubs want him to start. However, it's time to call Connor Noland up from AAA to give him a shot, a faster version of Kyle Hendricks. Dustin, it's funny. I was looking at Kyle Hendricks. I mean, his ERA isn't great. I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like him gets traded at the deadline to a contender, somebody looking to eat up innings. Not saying he's great or the old Kyle Hendricks. I'm just saying he could give you a quality start every 5th day. Chris Sale, Bird Dog knows, dominant again last night. Would love to see him in a Cubs uniform. Plus, his intensity at Wrigley Field, I think fans would love it. Sox fans might not. I don't understand. To me, it's been 9 years since he pitched for the White Sox. He's won a World Series elsewhere. The Cubs have won a World Series since. It's okay. Like, he can go pitch for the Cubs. 45 watching, 10 likes, just saying, Terry, I appreciate you always trying to get the fans on board. Lip, might be drinking the Bear Kool-Aid too much, but I think this is how the conference looks. Lions, Bears, Packer, Vikings dropping all the way to 4th. Godfather, a serious about winning owner would not care what prospects are traded to get a top of the rotation starter in here. I sure don't. I'll buy that, Godfather, for sure. I'll trade whatever it takes. I know who Chris Sale is. You're telling me I get 2 years of Chris Sale? He won the Cy Young, and you're getting him motivated? Sounds juicy to me. Another great podcast by Joe Colley. Interested in seeing what the Bulls do in the draft and what moves they make this offseason. Speaking of podcasts, me and BA Brian Anderson dropped a new White Sox recap podcast late last night into this morning. Take a listen to that. We turned it over to the fans. Ask us anything. Ask us questions. There was a boatload of responses. We didn't even get to them all. We're going to have to do a 2-parter, but really, really good stuff in there as the White Sox open a series today in Baltimore. The biggest disappointment with all the injuries is having the 2024 organizational pitcher of the year, Brandon Birdsell, hurt. He would be here by now. Okay, you're still dealing with young guys trying to go chase a pennant. That's why I like veterans like Sale, guys who've been there, done that before, Jacob deGrom, etc. Wind blowing in. It is a warmer day when you put it all in the mix. Maybe not as warm as a summer day at Wrigley, but it's been warmer of late. I still think the game could be over in terms of the total, but I'm not going to touch that total. As a matter of fact, I feel like it is time to discuss something that's happening to us right here. And they're not even quite, they're aviator-like, but I can't come naked. I can't come naked. Folks, we are on the ultimate bet of the day heater. I got glasses on. They're different. We are rolling. What a day. I said, let's have a winning month. Okay. We went out and did that. Remember I told you yesterday, and Lip had already discussed this, we went off the reservation and went to the steal market for OG Anunoby to have 2+ steals. He had done it in every game this series except for one, and at home he was averaging 2.5. He had 2 steals at that flipping half. And I put a little parlay together, not on the show, but I couldn't decide yesterday on the bet of the day if I liked Halliburton's 2 steals or OG's 2 steals. I parlayed them together with the other thing I almost gave out, which is Josh Hart's over 9.5 rebounds. That was plus 950, baby. It was a good night. We are going to try to finish a 5-0 week. I think it would be the second, or it might be the first in the history of this program. Look at that record in May. Juicy. We've won 67% of our bets, folks. For those of you who are in the market, you know that that's a juicy clip. Okay, so Miguel Vargas, I'm doing a baseball. The argument here with Miguel Vargas is he's playing himself into all-star form for the White Sox. I think it's Shane Smith still as we sit here today. Okay. Oh, the stream froze. Oh, boy. Okay. But here's Miguel Vargas. I need you guys to hear this. We're going 2+ bases. Miguel Vargas's last 5 games. Okay. It's worth noting. He's hitting .364. Here's my favorite part. He has doubled in every game the last 5 games. He has a double in every single game. He has 8 hits and 22 at-bats, 5 doubles, 2 homers. 7 of his 8 hits have gone for extra bases. He's on a heater, and Zach Eflin, folks, he's not. In his last 10 1/3, 13 earned, 7 homers. I think I'm going with this. I'm loving what we're at here. Love the risky business shades. Appreciate that, Pablo. The stream froze for a second. Thought we had to watch him improvise again. No. Can we get a handy clap for Guff improvising earlier this week? Appreciate you. Good afternoon. When will PB be on? Mentioned it yesterday, Phil. Pat Boyle will be on. He's on vacation next week. We'll get him back before free agency opens. David, happy Friday. What would you think of the Cubs signing Rizzo to a 1-day contract and let him retire as a Cub? No brainer. 100%, David. I think that's got to happen. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. Again, Dick Clyde, I just mentioned PB will be coming on after he gets back from vacation, probably closer to the draft. But I told him the fans want to hear from him. The hockey crowd is listening. They want to talk about Jeff Blashill, the new head coach, the draft, and will the Hawks be spending this year in free agency? Jonathan Taves also looking to return. I think that'll be a story worth saying. But for those who are coming in for the bet of the day, 4-0 week, 16-8 month, this will be the final bet we put out there, at least for the bet of the day purposes in the month of May. We could get to 17-8 in May. What a month. What a week. I really liked this. Would be my third, by the way, this is the third plus money bet that I've given out this week. We hit the parlay on Monday of the Mets money line, Cubs run line. We hit the plus money last night in OG Anunoby's 2 steals. And I'm giving you another plus money bet that I really like with Miguel Vargas, 2+ bases. Lip Ripper says Taves will play for the Leafs or Jets. I think the Winnipeg native wouldn't be surprised. Plus, it's a team that is close to home, so and can be winning. Yeah, I mean, and it's in the mix to win a Stanley Cup. Great call on Daniel Palencia, says Uncle Ted. You're the only person who says you should be a closer this offseason. Miguff, I appreciate you, Uncle Ted, saving the receipts. Which NBA Finals would you rather see? Indiana, OKC, New York, OKC. I think New York could grind down OKC. OKC plays more games. They could slow you down defensively. Indiana's pace would be fun to watch with Oklahoma City. I just think I'd like to see Tibbs in the finals. I think it's going to be Indiana, OKC. I feel like OKC is going to wrap this title up. And I just can't wrap my head around what I don't love about the Thunder. Great show. Have a great weekend, everyone. Take that. Appreciate you, Kyle. Clyde says OKC, Indiana. There's the bet. It's a 3:30 start. 3:30 start. So if you want to ride the wave, that's been the Guff bet of the day. There it is. I'm going to put it out in social form here shortly. But Miguel Vargas, 2+ bases. The calendar flips to June, folks. The calendar flips to June this weekend. The weather flips with it finally. Kids are getting out for school. Some aren't, but they're almost ready to go. A lot of parties, a lot of celebrations upcoming. Please enjoy them. As Breck says, go outside, nerds. What the hell am I doing inside? I'm ready to go outside myself. Take care of yourself. Have an awesome Friday. Have an awesome weekend. Let's hit that Miguel Vargas 2+ total bases. Reconvene on Monday as we continue this crowd, this community, this love, this passion. Appreciate you guys. It's been the Recap Lunch Hour with me, Guff, Ryan McGuffey. We'll see y'all on Monday. Have an awesome weekend. It's all brought to you by Hooters, originalhooters.com to visit the location nearest you. Order.hooters.com to pick up a to-go order. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.